Hey, how's everybody doing today? Happy Friday to you all. Today is September 12th, 2025. Wow, the time has gone by fast. I hope everybody's enjoying their September so far. Welcome to another episode of Jonte the Artist Podcast. I am your host, Jon'te Aycox. This is a space where I talk about everything arts, honoring, and promoting the arts. I also talk about everything about life, spreading awareness, inspiration, and so go get yourself a snack and beverage, kick back and relax in this space of love, peace, hope, and escape. This is not a space to push my beliefs on anybody. This is a space to embrace everybody with love and hopes to change a life for better and hopes to inspire somebody and make somebody's day better, positivity and more. So if you haven't checked out Jonte the Artist Podcast episodes, please check me out on iHeartRadio. You can also follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, and you can find me on YouTube as Jonte the Artist. Please like, subscribe, and comment on all those and let me know what you think of all my episodes. So, in this episode 7th, I had an opportunity to interview the amazing, talented author and artist, Rick Sorensen. We talk about his book of art, The Church's Response. So get ready for that. And I'm also going to be playing some amazing music for you in this episode. So sit back and relax and get ready for another amazing episode of Jonte the Artist Podcast. Good morning, sir, and sure, I would love that delicious cup of tea. Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, congratulations on being the new owner of this beautiful establishment. The food is amazing, the service is marvelous, this place is phenomenal. I wanted to take the time to congratulate you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome, and also, I have some other news, by the way. So, I know now that you're a new owner, and if you happen to have friends as owners or know anybody that's an owner or founder or just someone drowning in tasks, please stop what you're doing and check out People's Group.
Huh? Wow.
Yes, People's Group. So, the cool thing is my podcast recently partnered with the People Group. They're not your average outsourcing solution. They're made up of 3 powerhouse companies. This is a group of 3 specialized companies, each offering a different kind of business support, and they cover a wide range of support needs. There's JamPot, based in the UK, focus on flexible, high quality fractional support, then finance, operations, legal, marketing, IT. Then there's Byron, which is a US base. If you want efficient, on-demand, and reliable support, who could just get the job done. And then there's Leverage Assistant. They provide full-time and part-time global executive and operations virtual assistant support. What stood out to me is how they match clients and assistants. Both sides, take culture index survey, which means you're getting someone who actually fits how you work. They also offer a 12-hour candidate vetting process, transparent tracking, and seamless, coverage. Whether you need 5 hours a week or a full-time strategist partner, the People Group delivers. If you're someone who's been thinking about outsourcing or getting more support, reach out to them now.
That's the best idea I have heard all day.
Yes, reach out to them now. So tell them Jonte Aycox referred you, which is me, your future self will thank you. Oh, and 1 month free. Don't forget you get the 1 month free with any of their services when you decide to use one of their companies, which is the Leverage Assistant, full-time remote assistant for 1 month. JamPot or Byron, up to 20 hours free for the first month. Here's my referral link to learn more about the company. Oh, and all my viewers who's been looking at my podcast, please click on one of those links at the bottom. Tell them Jonte the Artist Podcast host, which is me, Jonte Aycox, referred you. You can look at those links at the bottom of the show notes. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and also thank you, buddy, for serving me. I appreciate you so much. So, definitely go check out that People's Group today. So how's everybody doing so far? I just hope that everybody's had an amazing week, and I hope this beautiful weekend gives you all joy and more. And I hope that your September is filled with beauty. This morning, I woke up, I walked outside, and I looked at the trees and just, living that gratitude. The smallest things really do make a difference. You ever just wake up and just see the beauty, and you open up your curtains or your blinds of your home or your room or whatever you stay in, an apartment. You just open up those blinds and you hear the beautiful birds chirping away. Wow, I'm so grateful for that. So it's just good to take a moment of gratitude. Whatever you're facing now, just remember that, whether if it's bad, it shall pass. Good things are always coming. So just remember that. And in the midst of what you're facing, remember to pray. And just remember the earlier chapters in your life as well. Certain things you've gone through, you always made it through. And you will continue to make it through. So just pray amidst that for the peace, for strength, because that's what Jesus gives you, is his presence. We must seek him always, not just when you're going through things, but even through good things. Give him thanks all through your day. And look at all the gratitude, look at all the blessings in your situations. There's always something good to see in your day. So I hope this inspires you all. Get ready for an amazing interview with the amazing, talented author/artist, Rick Sorensen. We're going to be talking about his book of art, The Church's Response. So let's get ready for that. I hope you all enjoy it. It's a little long interview, but it's an amazing interview. And we're also going to be playing some music on break. So get ready for this new episode of JonteTheArtist Podcast. Hello everyone, I'm excited to introduce my guest today, Rick Sorensen, author of Art, The Church Response. How are you doing today, Rick? How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of my podcast. So to start, can you share with our listeners where you're from, where you were born and raised, and a little bit about your background?
Oh, sure. Was born and raised in Idaho. I'm from Boise, Idaho. And so my father was a pastor in the church, so I was raised as a pastor's kid, but I was one of the good ones, not one of the bad ones. And so in school, I always loved art, so I took that in junior high. That's where I really learned how to really start to understand that. I had a great teacher in middle school. So he taught us to draw from observation by setting a white ball on the table with the light shining down upon it, turning out all the lights in the room. And so we learned how to depict the light and the shadows. And so that was the start of my my interest in art. And that kind of got pursued more as I was in school and just continued on.
That's amazing. And so what I want to talk to you about, speaking of art, you're reading this amazing book called Art, The Church's Response. Can you tell us more about it and what inspired you to write it?
Oh, sure. The impetus to write it was a friend of mine told me I should write a book on art, about a book write a book on art for Christians. And so I thought, well, that's interesting. And if I were to do that, then what would I put into it? And so, as I began to think about it, then my friend's suggestion just really began to, have legs. And so I began to think, what would a Christian want to know? And so the first thing I thought would be that they would want to know, what does the Bible say about it? And so I began to look throughout the Bible about how it talks about various art topics, not just visual art, but every creative aspect that I could see the Bible addresses. So that began to be the whole thing that I began to include into this exploration was, what does the Bible talk about creativity, and how do we do that? And so that was kind of the start of my writing that book.
That's amazing. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, so I noticed in your bio, you mentioned you studied art formerly, and who was your artistic influences and stuff like that growing up?
Well, in middle school, I was really inspired by Picasso.
Wow.
And but our teacher, he showed us slides. This was way back in 7th grade. And as I thought about it, I'm just amazed at what a great teacher he was. He showed us slides of Michelangelo sculpture. And then he showed us slides of King Tut's exhibition. And just different, so many different artists that we had no idea of, especially at that young age, just to be exposed to. And so it was, but Picasso for me was someone that was abstract, and I was probably, because of learning how to draw shapes and shadows, that was something that really appealed to me, was the abstractness of things. And then but I wouldn't do abstraction just for the sake of abstraction. It was always combining various things together. And so it's not totally abstract, but it's a bit more conceptual.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is true because, I know with Picasso, what I like about his stuff is that it's very unique, but I like that even though there is some abstract in it, there's like different things he does, like, with the design and stuff like that. I also wanted to ask you this. So, have you been to any, like museums or galleries, like they have like different, tour attractions for different artists? I know Picasso has one. I think he has one in Spain or something like that, but, have you been to any of those, tourist attractions, like their museum or any kind of gallery of like their life and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've been to various museums around the world. I went to art school outside of Boston, so I got familiar with the museums of Boston, especially the Museum of Fine Arts. through the Islamic part, and so I didn't know that much about it. So I was curious to hear some of that. And I'm really interested in Chinese art. I learned how to do Chinese painting. My parents used to travel to China and they brought me back stuff, so I had to learn to use it. So I took a class to learn how to use it. But I really love Chinese landscape paintings. And so I've seen that in Hong Kong or Beijing. And so there's, when I've been in Paris, then I went to the sculpture Rodin, his museum, and that was really something you should go see if you ever get there. And when I was there, I saw this, it was the artist Cezanne. He had they'll do something one in every 20 years of a retrospective of his work where museums will donate for this exhibition or private, people that own things privately. And so it all gets combined into this exhibition. And so I saw that, and that was really something I learned a lot about, just looking at the paintings.
That's amazing.
So I try to, go, see things wherever I can. So I've been to different art museums around the U.S. and then when I've traveled internationally, I try to go there as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the thing I like about the arts as well is that as an artist myself, and I know you could relate as an artist as well, but it's like when you go to all these different things, nor if you see any other artist's work, you get inspired also, and then it helps you to want to try new things and creations and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And then I wanted to So everybody, we're going to stop right here. We're going to go to break, and we'll be right back after these messages. So, hey listeners, for the first time Instacart shoppers, I don't know if any of you shop on Instacart. Instacart's very popular all around. So for the first time Instacart shopper, here's a sweet treat for you. Ready, set, order. Get $10 off your Instacart order when you use my code JACOX, 19D as Deborah, and the number 76 at checkout. Just follow the link to the Instacart site in the show notes at the bottom of this post. If you have if you never used Instacart before, it will have you sign up so you can start your online shop experience. Happy shopping to you all. Oh, and also, do you like kombucha? One of my favorite drinks. I'm a huge fan. I normally buy mine in a store, but they have the Raw Brewing's company got some amazing tea flavored kombucha kits that you could make in the comfort of your home. Plus, there's info on their site about different recipes and directions. And talking about their kits on how to make your own tea kombucha, check out the link and use my code to get a discount on any purchases at checkout. That link is at the bottom of this podcast post. It'll take you straight to their site to learn more about them and your hands on those kits and those multi-flavor tea blends packages. When you're done shopping, don't forget to put in my code. So that's ALFW8F1Z as zebra and 7D as Deborah and R to get a discount on your order at checkout. And we're back to the interview. Go back into the book a little bit though, but I was gonna say, so what are some other things would you want artists to take from your book as well? You know, what are some other things that you would say that's very important?
So I think one of the key things as I began to discover it was that God put creativity into us, and we see that in Genesis. So like I said, I was looking up the words that were used in the Bible, both the Hebrew and the Greek words. So, for example, in Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. That word for create is bara, which means to create as a process. And so, it makes us think about things differently when we look at what these words really are conveying. And so, and then a few verses later, it says, let us make man in our own image. And I see part of that image is that we are also creators. We have to create because God put that into our DNA. And it doesn't matter what we create, but we have to create something in some form. And so that's why there's so many different expressions in every medium of dance or theater or visual arts or music. The people that are geared to one area or another, they have to create something, and they can't help it. People that are more engineer types, then they'll go do those type of things, but they have to create. And if you think about it, everything around us that you see surrounding us all originated in someone's imagination. And so that becomes, how do we cooperate? Are we going to fight against this creative drive that's in us, or are we going to cooperate with it?
This is so true,
And society gears itself to try to keep us away from creativity. When you see kids enter school, they're super creative. But by the time they graduate high school, or if they're stubborn, maybe college, they will say, I can't even draw a straight line, or I can't even draw a stick figure. That's how they think about creativity, is always in a visual arts way. But that's not the only way. But society gears itself to make us think that only the special people that are creative, it's not me.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, sorry to cut in, but I was going to say the thing I noticed too is that certain people that I've talked to, whether they're they say they used to draw when they was kids, or they did art, but a lot of times, like you said, as they get older, they're like, oh, I can't draw a stick figure and stuff like that. I think a lot of them are so afraid to show their creativity, and I think they're afraid that somebody's going to judge their creativity. And I remember you said when I was reading the introduction of your book, I was kind of reading like their sample and stuff, and you did mention a story where you drew something, and then when you went to the Bible study or something like that, somebody seen it and they was against you. I don't know if I'm correct, but I would love for you to talk more about that, because I guess they didn't like what you drew or something like that.
So I was going to art school, and so I was going to church in Boston. And so on Tuesday nights would be this Bible study, and I would, just to give you a little background, my of my schedule, I would go to school full time. I worked 2 part-time jobs, and so I normally only slept maybe 3 or 4 hours a night. And so if I were to go somewhere or see someone, it generally had to do with giving up sleep in order to do that. And so I would go. So one of my jobs was working as a security guard overnight, and that's actually saved me because that's where I did a lot of my homework. But before that was I go to this Bible study, and so as part of a school requirement, they wanted us to draw so many hours outside of what we were already doing. And so I would, to fulfill that requirement, I would take my drawing notebook to this Bible study, and I would draw, whatever was on the coffee table, usually. And so the times that I was without money, I would take this small drawing tablet and draw in my class until I had enough money to go buy a big newsprint pad and draw the figures for the figure studies that we were doing. And so after going to this Bible study for a couple of years, then the leader's wife was curious about what was in my notebook. And I said, sure, you can look at it. And so, along with the drawings saw on the coffee table, then they saw some of these figure studies that I did. And that really shocked them. That how could I be doing all that and still be a Christian? And so it was a big shock to them to think that all these new studies in this notebook was so. What happened was that, or the result of all that, was that I still went to the Bible study. I didn't stop, and it was at their house. I still went to church, but the relationship that was starting to grow with that family just ended because they couldn't accept it. So it wasn't anything on my part, but their
it was like because you know how churches and stuff like that kind of have certain things that they're against, and I guess they felt that since what they've seen, it was against what their policies or whatever and their morals, and then they decided that too bad they couldn't still accept the person and still was able to see you in their Bible study, but then they decided to just totally stop talking to you.
Right. Yeah, in a sense what happened to me is something that happened to Michelangelo. Years after I went to art school, where I graduated, I read this account of Michelangelo, and when he was painting the last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel, he was about 3/4 of the way through it, and the Pope comes in with a cardinal and asks the cardinal, well, what do you think of all
this is true, and I actually have heard and read stories about that when it came to many artists and even our new artists today. But what I like is that many artists who pushes the envelope, meaning whatever they want to do, paint, draw, no matter who's against them, they just continue to do it because they're trying to get a message across, whatever that is.
Well, it's partly that. I think the other thing is that you're painting out of your soul.
Yep.
And so it's not someone else's soul that you're depicting. It's from your inner being that you're doing that. That's why people will stay on things for years and years and years.
That's true. And another thing I wanted to touch on, so everybody, we're going to go to break right now, and we'll be back right after these messages. So, what are y'all having for dinner tonight? What do you have a taste for? So, what are your favorite meals? I know for me, I love a stuffed chicken breast. So, you could cook that in the oven, medium heat, put a little bit of water seasoning in your pot. So, you cook that in a square pan. You add your chicken breast in there, cook it halfway. You can also add your rice and cheese and onion when it's halfway done. Put that in the middle of the chicken breast. Then you put the foil back on it and cook it again. Add a tiny bit of oil on there. I love a little bit of rice with that. I love my chopped kale and onion. So that's like a stuffed chicken breast with your cheese and rice and stuff in the middle. What do you all have tonight? Oh, and what are your favorite desserts? Do you like banana pudding? I kind of have a taste for that. What about chocolate chip cookies? So please leave your favorite recipes, your desserts, even your favorite snacks. Leave that. Comment on this post and let me know. We could talk about it in the next episode. So we could make it fun. And I'll mention your name and I'll mention your favorite recipe. Let's talk about that in the next episode. You all know who knows me. Those who knows me know I love chips. So I'm a big chip guy. My favorite candy is M&M's. So I like that. What are some other ones? I love dark chocolate almonds. I love blueberries. Blueberries is one of my favorite fruits. Blueberries, grapes. I love cherries. I love my tangerines. Those are just a favorite list of mine. What about your fruits and stuff? What about your veggies? Anybody have a favorite veggie? So leave all this in the comment section and let's talk about it in the next episode. Happy eating and enjoy your dinner.
In the early morning light, I saddle up and ride through the fields of amber grain. My golden horse and I, we roam the open plains where the skies are wide and blue, with the wind in our hair and the dream to pursue. Oh, my golden horse, you carry me away to the land where dreams are born, where the wild hearts play, with your spirit so free and your mane shining bright. We'll chase the setting sun till the end of the night. Through the rolling hills we go, past the rivers and the streams. With every step you take, you bring me closer to my dreams. Your hooves beat a rhythm like a song in the breeze. Together we are stronger, we can face anything with ease. Oh, my golden horse, you carry me away to the land where dreams are born, where the wild hearts play, with your spirit so free and your mane shining bright. We'll chase the setting sun till the end of the night. Underneath the stars, in the quiet of the night, whisper my secrets, and you listen with delight. With you I feel alive as we ride through the dark. My golden horse, you forever won my heart. Oh, my golden horse, you carry me away to the land where dreams are born, where the wild hearts play. With your spirit so free and your name shining bright, we'll chase the setting sun till the end of the night. So here's to many more rides on this journey we embark. With you by my side, we'll always leave our mark. My golden horse and I will ride till the end in this tale of adventure, my loyal golden friend. Underneath the stars, in the quiet of the night, I'll whisper my secrets, and you listen with delight. With you I feel alive as we ride through the dark. My golden horse, you forever won my heart.
And we're back to our amazing interview with the amazing, talented Rick Sorensen.
Have you created any art in a while, whether if it's drawing or painting? Have you done any pieces in a while? I haven't done anything recently. So no, not real recent. I haven't. And then I want to ask you this. So I noticed, I read that you taught art in a private Christian school as well as privately to homeschool students and adults. You also led creativity and drawing seminars and trained students in a wide range of mediums to drawing, painting, graphic design, photography, printmaking, clay, and 3D works. Are you still teaching today? And if you are, and what did you enjoy most about teaching? There was a couple things so I'm not teaching presently. In teaching at the Christian school, I taught first with the middle school, and then they asked me to do the high school. I enjoyed the middle school kids the most. The main reason is that they really want to learn. And when you start to get into the high school, they kind of think they already know stuff. And so trying to get them to get deeper past what they know is sometimes harder than it is teaching middle school kids, because they just really want to know what and be able to do it, and so they're so much fun that way. In fact, one girl, when she started the class in middle school, she told me that she took Ritalin, and that she's trying to just tell me what her issues are. I told her, well, that's fine. I still expect you to get an A. And that really shocked her. I don't think anyone had told her that before. So by the end of the semester, she was 1 point from an A. And so I was telling that to her mother for the parent-teacher conferences, and just seeing someone
amazing because you encourage her, and it's so important that we encourage our young ones, and I think that's really like amazing.
Then when I taught adults, the first adult I taught was just a family friend who just was wanting to, learn to draw. And so it was interesting. I was just going to do like this 6 weeks, for like an hour and a half a week. She came to our apartment and was there for an hour and a half. And I wasn't charging her anything because she's just a friend. But this class, the drawing class, which was only going to be like 6 weeks, ended up like 6 months.
Wow.
Because there was so many issues that came up in her. And a lot of it was psychological. There was sickness, but I think some of it was psychologically induced because she's now confronting having to be creative when she was denying it for so long. So there was all these issues that she began to confront, and I wouldn't let her quit because I saw that if she quit, it would only reinforce, that negative image that she had of herself of not being able to be creative. So I saw that we had to break through that. Now, because she's a family friend, then we could do that. But when I've taught other adults, different places privately, sometimes been in churches, sometimes other places that so like this one photographer was her background. She was kind of interested in art, but she told me when she was in high school that she didn't think she was creative, and she hid out in the dark room that the school had and wouldn't do any of the drawing. And so she was finally ready to learn to draw. And so that class, I was doing a lot like what I learned at the white ball on the table and the one light shining down upon it turned out all the lights. And so I did a basic demonstration, not something super detailed, because I found over time that they're not going to understand. You just give them the idea and then let them start to discover things. And so for her, as the class went on, then she was also confronting the things that she was had buried a long time ago. And so she was open to it and created a great friendship over a few years of doing that.
And I was gonna say, and then how long did you teach for? Like, how many years did you do that for?
The teaching in the Christian school was only like a couple years. They were, I didn't have my own classroom. I mean, I had to share a classroom with the math teacher. And so having like a dedicated art room was not exams of various art subjects, and they weren't thinking along those lines. So, like for instance, they wanted me to teach graphic design, and so I took that in art school, so it wasn't a big deal to teach. And this was before computers really became, how you do it. Since only a few kids had computers at that time, then you have to use a photocopier for things. And so I would let the kids take, because the administration had controlled the photocopier, and each teacher had a code that you put into that. And so I would let the kids take my code and go do what they needed to do for the assignment, and then they'd come back. So things like that were not things the administration looked kindly at.
Wow. And it's interesting as I was listening to that, it's almost like they didn't realize how important the arts are. But now in this generation, I love how some schools and different places, they're starting to bring art to the forefront, and everybody's starting to take it serious. But I guess they're saying they're still trying to do more of that, because there was a time where I guess people don't really honor the arts, so they don't realize how important it is. I wanted to ask you, so are you in touch with any of your students or anything? I know you did mention that you did become friends with one of the students, one of the adult students. Are you in touch with any other students, and have you seen, are they pursuing art today or anything?
I'd like to know that about the kids that I taught. I'm not in connection with any of them, so ones I thought would do well at it, I'd be interested to see if that's something that they pursued. Some of the adults that I taught they was in another state, lived in Missouri for a little while, and that's where I did some of the creativity classes and drawing classes. And so I think several of them have continued that just for their own pleasure. That's all that those classes were designed for, was opening them up to do things that they weren't normally doing. So I think some of them still are, but I'm not in contact with them.
Yeah, I hope they are still practicing and maybe getting into a show, because I remember I was actually chatting with one of the artists on Facebook. He's an up-and-coming artist, but he didn't know he was an artist when he was a kid or anything, and I guess he got inspired by his wife, that taught out of college, and she was an artist as well. And then during COVID, his daughters and them wanted to buy some art supplies, so the minute he started buying these art supplies, he got inspired. He's age 43, and he found his passion for the arts later, and I just thought that was amazing. So hopefully your students today are now at least practicing, and maybe their kids were inspired them to want to do art even as well. So we're going to stop it right there, everybody. I hope you are enjoying this amazing interview. We'll be back after these messages. We're going to go to break right now.
Don't talk to me anymore. The silence is louder than it ever was before. I wanna ask you, what do you feel inside? What should I do to show you I've got nothing to hide? I've told you I love you 1,000 times, but it seems my words just turn got to run. Tell her I love her 1,000 times over. I've been broken twice, not more. Now it's causing the negative. It's hard to get back. Nikki, why haven't you talked to me since that day? Or is it because you gave me a negative score every time? Every memory it plays on repeat. I'm haunted by the days when we used to meet. I wanna know, why did you walk away? What should I do to make you stay? Every silence cuts deeper than words can say. I'm lost in the shadows of yesterday. Tell her I love her 1,000 times over. I've been broken twice, not more. Now it's causing the negative. It's hard to get back. Nikki, why haven't you talked to me since that day? Or is it because you gave me a negative score every time? Tell her I love her 1,000 times over. My heart's been broken twice, not more. Now it's causing the negative. It's hard to get back. Nikki, why haven't you talked to me since that day? Or is it because you gave me a negative score every time? Every memory plays on repeat. I'm haunted by the days when we used to meet. Oh, now it's causing a negative. It's hard to get back. Nikki, why haven't you talked to me since that day? Or is it because you gave me a negative score every time? Every memory that plays on repeat. I'm haunted by the days when we time. Every memory that plays on repeat. Every time. Every memory plays on repeat. I'm haunted by the days when we used to meet. I wanna know, why did you walk away? What should I do to make you stay? Tell her I love her 1,000 times over. My heart's been broken twice, not more. Now it's causing the negative. It's hard to get back. Nikki, why haven't you talked to me since that day? Or is it because you gave me a negative score every time? I see you there, living your life, while I'm stuck here dealing with the strife. Can't you see the love in my eyes, or how you turned away, ignoring my cries?
Underneath the neon lights, I wonder if it's right. Questions dance around my mind. Will they fade with the night? Does the universe hear my plea? Will it change for me? Hoping for a sunrise bright to set my heart free. Walking through the crowded streets, feel the ground beneath. Searching for a glimpse of hope from the people we meet. Waiting for a sign from stars to break this endless gray. Dreaming of a moment when shadows start to sway. Will it get better when the tears have dried? Can the pain be something we can leave behind? Will the world embrace us, dreams to find? Hoping for an answer that's gentle and kind.
And we are back to this amazing interview.
I wanted to ask you this. What would you say the bigger picture, like I'm going to go into the bigger picture for a moment, but what is art in your view? Like, what would you say the meaning of art is? How would you describe that to people?
I have a pretty holistic view of it. I think of
art, not just in terms of visual art, but in terms of all the arts. And so in that way, I see art as expression of our humanness. It gets so deep into us, it's our humanness that has to be expressed. And so it comes out in all these different forms of music or visual or dance or, whatever way that a person kind of is geared to, that's the way that will come out. So that's what I see as like the basic definition of art is an expression of our humanness.
I love that. And then I was going to say, and along with that, how can we evaluate whether a work of art is good or bad?
So, I'm going to give a scenario that I've never heard a no to, and then I'm going to break it down. So, you've gone to the movies, at the cinema, and come out of it sometime and thought or said to somebody, that was a great idea, but they didn't pull it off. So when I ask this, or give this scenario to people, I've never heard someone say no. I've never experienced that. They always shake their head, or they always say yes. Now I'm going to break it down, because I think this is just something that we do naturally. And what we do is we want to know what something's about. By saying that was a great idea, we've identified the idea, in this case for the movie, but we do that in everything. We want to know what the idea is. So I think that's one half. If you think of a work as two parts, we've identified one part of it. That's the idea. The second part of it is what I call the expression of the idea. And in the movie scenario, we've identified they did not express it well enough to bring out the potential of this idea that we've identified that they did. So in the negative sense, we've said, no, it didn't work. But when it does work, when the idea and the way it's expressed come together like in a symphonic, harmonious interplay, we go, oh, that's good.
Wow.
We know the idea is expressed in the way that's appropriate for it. We go, oh, that's good. So we do this naturally. So I'm just breaking apart that we can evaluate works in an objective way. It's not just based upon feeling, but we can tell if something is good or bad. And most of the time it's somewhere in between. It's like, yeah, almost there, but not quite.
Wow, that's interesting. That is so true. And then I was gonna say, so I know some people think that poorly subjective, but you said that there are objective ways to look at it, considering the idea of how fully it is expressed. Like in films, sometimes we say it was a great idea, but they didn't pull it off. So how does that thinking apply to like visual arts and stuff like that? Like even like if it's like acrylic or something like that, or computer art, what would you say about that?
Well, still you're depicting an idea, and so when you have an idea and you're getting it out, it's usually not the first thing that you just get it out, but there's a refining process that you are going through as well in trying to bring out your idea. It's not just the style. Style is actually just one way of expressing the idea. If you think about style, let's think of so a song that everyone knows is like Amazing Grace. If you were to hear that in a jazz style, or if you were to hear it as a country style. What if you heard it more pop way? What if it was rapped? Now, in all of those examples, the idea hasn't changed. The words have not changed. All that's changed is the way it's presented. Those will give different ways of looking at it, but it hasn't changed the song. Well, if you think about that visually, it's the same thing. You're presenting this idea. Now, in a visual way, bringing out the idea, you may not have a complete thought about it. And the more you're working on it, you realize, oh, I need to add this to make this idea more full or deeper, however you want to think about it. It's not just a surface thing, but now you're bringing out a depth to the idea that you didn't realize you wanted to bring out. And that's through the refining process, you realize how to do that.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool. And then the other thing I want to ask you is, now when it comes to creating and supporting the arts, what changes would you like to see in the art world?
Well, right now I think it's a little too intellectual. If you go into people that are trying to make it to the big times, then they have over-intellectualized the work. That's stuff I did in, like, high school. I'd do something and then I'd try to justify it. And something I realized when I was going through art school is that if the work can't speak for itself, then I haven't done my job right.
Yeah.
And so writing a big artist statement about it artist statement is only to give a little bit of direction for your audience and how to approach it. It's not writing this big philosophical, intellectual jargon thing. So that's something I would say, if you have to rely upon that, then have you really done your job well enough? I came across something recently. There's an organization in southern Pennsylvania, I think, and they're looking to create an art destination that has all the arts going, as well as technology, to learn technology. And so it's this big idea, which I hope they succeed at. And so this is like out in the country of Pennsylvania, so you'd have to go there on purpose. And they're wanting to create this whole thing so that it'd be symphony halls, there'd be exhibition spaces, there'd be all the supporting things that would be for that. And so I kind of talked to the person that's doing it, and so they're at the beginning stages of doing this. And maybe in a few years you might hear something about it.
That's pretty cool. I would definitely love to go support that. That sounds pretty amazing and unique.
So, but as far as I know, that's the only place in the country that's doing something that has such a far-ranging vision of what they want to do with that. most places are just trying to support their own area. And so, and that's good. Something that's always fascinated me is that when towns are trying to renew depressed area, they always use the arts to bring people to that depressed area. Whether it's galleries or there's theater or dance, or they always use the arts. And over time, that city that's depressed, or the section of the city that's depressed, will revive. And so the arts are always something that are used to revive cities when they get depressed. I always found that just totally fascinating.
That is pretty cool, because especially where I'm at in Las Vegas, Nevada, we don't just have an art district, but I noticed just all around the town they're using different artists to create like murals and all types of things, even in our new buildings. And I just find that amazing, because art really does bring happiness to many people, and that's one of the things I like as an artist, where me drawing from a place of compassion and caring, and people just feel that through your arts, when you create. And I wanted to so we're gonna stop there, everybody, and we'll be back right after these messages.
Your name reigns over all things. Your blood defeats the devil. For you are Jesus, the Son of David. Holy is your name, Lord. Praise and thanksgiving to you, my Father. You are worthy to be praised and worshipped, for you are the faithful Father. No one can stand against you. You have the power to destroy the devil with your power and blood. For you are Jesus, the Son of David. Holy, holy is your name, Lord. Praise and thanksgiving to you, my Father. You are worthy to be praised and worshipped, for you are the faithful Father. No one can stand against you. You have the power to destroy the devil with your power and blood. For you are Jesus, the Son of David. Praise my praise to you. All my honor to you. Jesus, the Holy Father.
We've had a few bumps and dents. Life's never been picture postcard. But you take my hand when the day gets long. We find our own place where we belong. We're calling it love, not perfect but true. Every road we've walked has led me to you. Through the storms, through the miles, we've had enough proof, so we're calling it love, me and you. We dance in the kitchen with bare feet, while the coffee's still warm in the cup. The world fades away when our eyes meet. That's when I know we've got enough. No fairy tales here, but it's better somehow. We've got forever starting right now. We're calling it love, not perfect but true. Every road we've walked has led me to you. Through the storms, through the miles, we've had enough proof, so we're calling it love, me and you. Maybe it's simple, maybe it's fate, but I wouldn't change a single day. Every scar's just a line in the map we made, and I trace it with you, come what may. We're calling it love, not perfect but true. Every road we've walked has led me to you. Through the storms, through the miles, we've had enough proof, so we're calling it love, me and you. She stands alone under the sky so blue. Chase that never quite came true. The waves whisper tales of long lost days. In the quiet breeze, memories always stay. Oh, the blue horizon calls his name, 1,000 dreams he could take. See all secrets he can't see, and yet steps high as what he wants to be. Through the mist he sees a flicker of light, a distant hope in the endless night. Though he's lost so much, he still looks home to the blue horizon where dreams are born.
to this amazing interview. So I'm going to ask you this as I was listening to you. So, as an artist, looking at like all the new arts, like just young artists today, is there anything that caught your eye? Like, have you been kind of keeping up with any of today's artists? Meaning, like, if you're on social media or anywhere you go, have you noticed any new art that caught your eye that was really outstanding to you? Like certain things they're doing today?
As far as for any like topic type stuff, I haven't really. I do try to stay aware of what's going on, as much as I can. Sometimes through social media, sometimes by going to artist conferences. I'm part of a printmakers conference or organization, and so by going to conferences in different parts of the country, then you start to see what the people are doing, both in that locale, but also from students all the way to established artists, and what are part of these organizations. So I have a fair idea of what's going on across the country, but nothing new has really jumped out at me.
And I was going to say, so in the past, if art didn't look a certain way, it often wasn't considered real art, because it didn't meet society standards or it wasn't realistic enough. So now over the years, artists, including myself, since I started creating art at age 9, have developed their own unique styles, breaking away from trends, traditions and stuff like that. This leads me to my next question. How would you compare the art of the early periods, including like early church history, that of modern times? Do you enjoy seeing today's artists push boundaries, explore new styles, and show that art comes in different forms, kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I like seeing how people bring out ideas. And so if you think about art in those terms, then every style gets included. Some of the let's see, can you ask me your question again?
Yeah,
my mind just kind of blanked out.
Oh, that's okay. And so basically, because I noticed growing up as an artist, I remember when I was younger, over the years, some art, if my art didn't look realistic, people wouldn't consider it art. And then as I gotten older, along with so many amazing artists, their art is different, like different styles. So how would you like breaking away from the traditions of what art is, like realistic? How would you compare that? Like how would you compare the art of early periods, like the church history art and modern times art? So how would you compare the art from back then to now? Would you say it's art, or would you say that, art comes from different types of backgrounds? So basically, how would you compare the two? Do you think it's just all art, whether if it's realistic or not realistic?
Yeah, I do. One of the things that what we would call primitive societies, or as opposed to our modern societies, is that they would use abstraction as a way of emphasis. And so there would be realism, but there would also not be realism. And so you're having to, for us to look at it, we would see, why is capitalism. But for them, it was all the same because it was their society and they knew it. You know, what was being done. So, you just, in looking at past societies, then we just have to take it without our preconceived ideas looking at it.
Yeah, this is true. So true.
So one of the, someone more modern, an artist came to my mind as you were talking. He's from Idaho and his name is James Castle. I think he died mid 1900s. I can't remember exactly. But he was born deaf and mute. And he chose not to learn sign language. The only way he chose to communicate, he had a farm like about an hour outside of Boise somewhere, if I remember right. But the only way he chose to communicate was by drawing. And so he would take charcoal from the fireplace or the wood stove and mix it with his spit and use that to draw. He would often open up books because he couldn't read them, so he'd draw on the pages over the typed words, or he'd open up his cigarette box and draw on the inside of that. So, he would draw the interior of his home, which was more of a log-style cabin-ish look, according to what I saw in his drawings. And sometimes he did constructions, and so he has bird constructions that are really pretty good. And his depictions of people were still childlike, but his depictions of everything else was over time really quite developed. But the medium was just charcoal, both drawing and using it with his spit. And so, he's someone that has become at least well known across the United States, maybe internationally, over the last 20 years. But he has no formal education at all of anything. He had his farm, and then he would draw or make things.
Wow, that's amazing. I like that. I like the stuff he used for his art. I love how unique. I know that might sound kind of nasty with the spit, but I like that it's unique because the way it looked, and it was from his heart. You know, he did something different that we don't hear of certain artists do. That sounds interesting.
Yes, his name is James Castle. So you probably you can look him up online. I've seen him stuff. Or I've seen he has information online.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check him out. That sounds interesting. And then I was going to say, so are there any other dreams or projects you're working on right now?
I've kind of been working on what I call a casual textbook. I've been putting it on Substack, different articles, and I'll probably combine all those into a series of book called The Books on Art I Wish I Had.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. And then the other thing I was going to say, and the thing I just thought about now, I don't know why, but I could kind of see you, it just hit my mind. Would you ever come out with an arts book, like maybe share your ideas on because even though you have your book out now, but would you come out with a book with just all your arts or anything, or all your drawings or paintings you've done over the years?
I really thought about that. Maybe.
And another thing too, any final thoughts or advice for up and coming artists?
Yeah, I'll give the same advice that I give to students at conferences when they're showing their work. It's something, well, after I graduated from art school, then, I was evaluating what did I learn, what was it all about? And I came up with two questions, and so I give these two questions to the students to make them think. And the first question is, why should someone stop and look at your work? If you have your work on a gallery wall or somewhere, why should they stop and look at your work instead of another artist who's like 5 feet away? What are you doing to make them stop and look? Then the second question is, once they do stop, what are you doing to keep them there? You want them to stay in your work as long as you possibly can keep them. You don't want them to pop out, walk around the gallery, maybe never come back to what you did, but go to someone else. You want them to stay in your work as long as possible. So what are you doing to keep them at your work? That involves composition, that involves conceptual things that are going on in your work. So what are you doing to keep them there? So that's what I give to students. And it's just like a real revelation to them. They've never thought about any of that before.
Those are some really deep questions right there, because as you were saying that, it made me think, and it just teaches me more, about the art as well. Like, what do I want them to see when they look at my work and stuff like that? So that really makes me think as I'm hearing this. That's amazing. And that's some really good advice. And then finally, so where could people find you online, like your social media handles, a website? And I would definitely leave those links at the bottom of my podcast post for everybody to find your book and your links. Like, what are those links that people could follow you on?
Well, right, some of that's still kind of getting, it's getting updated. So you can get my book online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or go to some bookstore and ask them to order it. You can look me up on Substack, which I'll share my link with you, and see the articles I've been, trying to write for my textbook. And right now, that's kind of it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll definitely leave those links at the bottom of my podcast post for the audience to check out. And Rick, I just want to say thank you so much for this amazing interview and sharing your stories with us today. And I also want to ask you, so is there anything else you want to mention to the audience about the arts or anything about your book before we go?
That's a good question. I'd say that if you want to start an argument with somebody, go tell them that they're creative, and then keep insisting that God put creativity into them. Because you'll be shocked how many people want to argue with you.
Wow, that's interesting. That is so true, though. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for this amazing interview. And guys, thank you for tuning in. And I'll definitely leave those links at the bottom of this post. Thank you so much, Rick.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Everybody, I want to thank you so much. We're at the end of our episode podcast. I want to thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I want to thank the amazing Rick Sorensen for interviewing with us today. I hope everybody enjoyed that amazing interview. And I want to thank him so much. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. And please go check out his book of art, The Church's Response. That's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I'll definitely leave all those links at the bottom of this podcast, and definitely check out his Substack. I'm actually on there too. It's called Substack. That's a blog site, and I'm on there as well. So I'll definitely leave all those links as well. So everybody, thank you for joining me. If I could leave this quote with you all before we go. So we have absolutely no control over what happens to us in life, but we have control over is how we respond to those events. So you may not have control over what happens, but we have control of how we respond to it. I've been doing a lot of thinking about that, and it's not just what somebody do to you, but it's also certain things that happens unexpectedly. We have those in life, and that's like a lot of people are so fear of the unknown. Just as myself, I fear the unknown sometimes, and we have to be prepared for what life has to bring. That's why it's so important that we live life to the fullest. So what I've learned is that as humans, we might deal with things the wrong way. We can't help it because we're human, but the thing is that we do have some control over that. What we could do is, in the midst of what we're facing, we could turn to Jesus in that situation. So always remember that. Read your Bible, meditation, make notes. I make notes to myself every day, and I have to remind myself that in the midst of what happens out of the blue, unexpectedly, whether somebody made me upset at work, whether if I'm going through something, it could be anything, and it happens unexpectedly. So how am I going to respond to that? And I also learned that if somebody messed your day up, are you going to come home and just let them mess your day up? Sometimes we're angry and we can't help it. We just think about it all day. Because this has happened to me. Somebody make me mad at work. I'll come home and I'll just think about it all day, all night. And I just let my whole evening be based on that. That's not good. So what I had to learn to do was go to God. I go to my prayer closet. I pray. And what a prayer closet is you shut your door. You could go in a small room or your bedroom or somewhere private, and you just go into that prayer closet and you talk to God and you pray, maybe even your own closet. A lot of people have different ones, but I normally go in my closet or what I do, because I had like a closet where you could just walk in. And I shut the door and I turn on my light and I just sit there. I know people have that online where they say that's their prayer closet. Or I just shut the door in my bedroom and I just go in there and I pray. I talk to God in that quiet space. And I just pray and I say, Lord, help me to overcome this pain. Help me to overcome what I'm facing. Teach me how to deal with things the correct way. I can't help that I have a lot of pain, when I'm going through a situation, but I could help how I deal with it. So let me not argue with that person or such and such. Let me just be able to deal with it the correct way. So we must turn to the Bible. We must turn to Jesus. We must turn to leaders, the Bible studies and stuff like that. Those things can help you. Quotes, scriptures, obedience and stuff like that when you look at the promises of Jesus. And also psychiatrists, therapists, you have all types of different solutions. So I hope this really inspires you all. I thank you so much for joining me on this amazing episode of JonteTheArtist Podcast. So, as I said earlier in my podcast, please follow me, everybody. Please check out JonteTheArtist Podcast on all your platforms. So I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pandora, and I'm on YouTube as Jonte the Artist. You could subscribe on all those, like, comment, please. Whatever platform you want to use, please comment and like, and let me know what you think of all these episodes. I hope they've been inspiring you so far. And don't forget to leave your comments about your favorite recipes. I'd love to mention it in my next episode so I could talk about it, and we'll have a good time just talking about our recipes. So please leave your comments and stuff. Don't forget to check out the show notes under this podcast. For the kombucha, we could go on the website and look up some kombucha, items. They have tea flavors, kits and stuff like that, where you can make your own kombucha in the comfort your own home. You can also check out that Instacart, where you could go first-time Instacart users. You could go shopping on there. So don't forget to check that all out. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining Jonte the Artist Podcast today. God bless you all. Be kind to yourself and be kind to other people. I'll see you soon. God bless you. And let's get ready for the amazing episode 8 of Jonte the Artist Podcast. Tune in to that next time, and I hope to see you on the next one. God bless you all. Have a happy Friday to you all.